1868 marked the inception of Reno's Chinatown. After the Sacramento to Reno segment of the Central Pacific Railroad was completed, displaced Chinese laborers from California, who had risked their lives laying railroad track over the Sierra Nevada mountains, settled in Reno. Reno's original Chinatown, located on the Truckee River at First Street, between Virginia and Center Streets, was nothing more than a grouping of poorly constructed, bare-wood shanties. These structures were built from whatever scraps the Chinese could scavenge. The architecture that has come to define San Francisco's Chinatown only originated after 1906. Chinese merchants paid white architects to design Oriental-themed facades in order to present a more aesthetically pleasing image of their community. Other Chinatowns in the American West, such as Reno's, were much less decorative. As early as 1871, Chinatown was criticized by Reno's white population for being an unsanitary and unmitigated nuisance that was located too close to the town's civilized citizens. Resentment and animosity was aimed at the Chinese in Reno right from the start. Reno's Chinatown existed for nearly 4 decades, from 1868 to 1908. During those 40 years, its location shifted several times. There were unsuccessful attempts to run the Chinese out of town. None of those attempts, ranging from arson to boycott, were successful, and the Chinese remained. A common misconception is that the Chinese abandoned Reno in 1908 after orders from a Reno grand jury called for the destruction and razing of their community. It is also a misconception that Chinatown was destroyed in a sporadic instance of mob violence. The decision to raze Chinatown in 1908 came after Reno's newly formed health board declared that section of town a plague spot. Under the pretense of moral and sanitary well-being of all of Reno's citizens, buildings in Chinatown were ripped down and burned, leaving Chinese residents homeless in the midst of winter. Although that was the end of Chinatown, that was not the end of the Chinese experience in Reno. A Chinese community, complete with Chinese-owned businesses, physicians, and a joss house, remained in that same section of town into the 1970s. The new China Club was the last vestige of the Chinese in that area. It was demolished in 1973 to make way for Harrah's expanded parking structure. Looking at that section of town now around Lake and Center Streets at the Truckee River, there is virtually no indication that anything other than casinos and vacant lots occupied that space.